and welcome back to the channel where I've just bought this. Now, for those of you who are regular viewers of the channel, you'll know that I, well, fairly regularly buy cars that I end up keeping, or I buy cars that need a bit of restoration work, and well, I usually keep them as well in my collection. But occasionally I'll buy a car that maybe needs a bit of work that I quite fancy owning for a short period of time. We do the restoration work and then we sell it on to someone who will be a long-term owner of the car, and we get to experience the car for a short period and feature it here on the channel. That's exactly what I'm doing with this car. Now, I spotted this on eBay just the other day. It was local to me, and well, I had a cheeky bid and I've won it. What is it? Well, as you already know, it's a BMW Z4, a 2005 Z4. But this is the much sought after and the increasingly rare 3-litre straight 6-cylinder engine car with the manual gearbox. Do you know, it's funny how things work out. You see, I actually had a BMW Z4 3-litre before, and it was a brilliant car, and it was almost 10 years ago to the day. In fact, here's a photograph of Evan, my eldest son, and I back in June 2012 enjoying our first BMW Z4. Now I'm experiencing this car for the very first time. I only picked it up about 20 minutes ago, and I've got to say it's driving brilliantly. The clutch feels good, the gearbox feels good, that engine, that big engine at the front is performing really, really well. It does drive, there's loads of power in this car. So mechanically it's pretty good, but I expected that. The car's only done 93,000 miles and it's got a decent service history that's come with it, so that seems all good. 2 jobs I do need to do under the bonnet. This car is due a service, so we'll do that. And also there is a strange issue with the coolant sensor, or specifically the coolant sensor that tells you when the coolant level is low. When this car goes over 50 or 60 miles an hour, well, the coolant light comes on, and it only really comes off when you drop back down below sort of 50 to 40 miles an hour. Bit of a strange one. I'm sure it's just a sensor. I'll get that sorted out. This car, as I said earlier, it does have a few jobs that we need to do. So the first is we've got to look at the bodywork. The front bumper is quite untidy, and there is a scratch coming down the near side front wing, so we'll sort that out as well. And I'll probably have to buy a new indicator for this car, new side repeater, because that's been scratched. And on the Z4, well, they come as a complete unit with the BMW badge there on the end. And in addition to that indicator, the headlights on this car could do with a bit of a freshen up, so I'll get that sorted as well. Now, the last thing that's wrong with this car, and something that we definitely need to fix, is the main reason that you buy yourself a BMW Z4 Roadster, and that is to get out in the lovely weather that we have here occasionally in the UK, open up that big engine, drive those rear wheels, put this roof down and get the wind in your hair. And the problem with this car is, well, the roof's broken. Now on these, it's a fairly common problem. It's an electric roof, and on these cars the motor that drives the roof actually sits just behind the passenger's left shoulder, and it sits in a bit of a well, which was a bit of a stupid idea really, BMW. And well, if the water gets into that well, the motor that drives the roof actually gets submerged in water, and of course it gets damaged and it packs up, and you need a new one. It's a really fiddly job to do. Now we know this car's got that problem because when I push the roof button, here I'll show you a quick video of it now. When I push the roof button, sure enough, the roof releases, but it doesn't go back. In fact, no noise at all from the motor, so we know it's a motor problem, and we can definitely get that sorted out. But not by me, I'll put it into the garage to do that. So Luke and Sam at LSC Vehicle Repairs will be sorting that out in Plymouth. And there is one more thing that I need to do. I need to give this car a really good clean. This car is filthy. It certainly looks like it's been, well, owned for a long time. It's been in the previous owner's ownership for a long time, and probably a little bit neglected towards the end of their ownership. So we'll give it a really, really good clean. And I'm sure that underneath all the muck, and once these jobs are done, well, I've got myself a really nice back in a couple of weeks. Well, it'll be a couple of seconds for you, but a couple of weeks for me. So join me and let's take a look at how this car turned out. And in the meantime, don't forget to like, to comment, and of course to subscribe. It really helps the channel. Okay, see you in a couple of weeks. That's so much better. Even in this rain, my Z4 is now back to being a proper roadster, a two-seater sports car. And, well, the Z range is BMW's range of roadsters, with a history going back over 30 years. I love a roadster, and I've had quite a few over the years, and I currently still own an MGF Trophy 160, which is fab. So how good is this BMW Z4? Well, we'll get to that. For now, I think it's important firstly that I put the roof up because it's raining, and secondly, we take a look back, a brief history of the BMW Z Car range. Now this model Z4 was launched in 2002, but the Z Car range actually started back in 1989 with the very cool BMW Z1. Produced between March 1989 and June 1991, only 8,000 Z1s were manufactured and all in left-hand drive. The vast majority, almost 6,500 of those 8,000, were sold in BMW's native Germany. Did you know that the Z in Z1 actually stood for Zukunft, the German word for future? Well, back in 1989, the Z1 certainly looked like something from the future, with its sharp design, removable body panels and unique doors that retracted vertically into the big sills. All Z1s had the 2.5 litre straight-six engine and the 5-speed automatic gearbox. Next, in 1995, came the BMW Z3, the first mass-market roadster produced by BMW. At launch, available with a 4-cylinder engine, during the car's 7-year production run, several other engine options became available, including BMW's much-coveted inline 6-cylinder engine, culminating in the 3-litre M54 and the fantastic 3.2 litre S54 engine with its 320 brake horsepower fitted to the Z3 M car. The Z3 also featured briefly in the James Bond movie GoldenEye, the first of 3 Bond movies to feature BMW products. The Z3 underwent a facelift in 1999 with the introduction of a coupe body style, and in 2002 production of the Z3 and the Z3 Coupe ceased. And it was in 2000 that BMW and the Z Car range, well, they treated us to something very special indeed. Once again, this car would feature in a James Bond movie, which was fitting really, given that it was the production variant of BMW's 1997 concept car. Just 5,703 were made, with over half making their way to the US. The Z8 was a class apart from the other Z cars and had a price tag to reflect this at around £85,000 in 2000, which would make it over £140,000 in today's money. And well, that looks to be the minimum that you can expect to pay for one today, over 20 years on. Powered by the 5-litre V8 with both manual and automatic gearbox options, this left-hand drive only BMW Roadster produced 400 brake horsepower and could hit 180 miles per hour. That Z8 is such a pretty car. Anyway, it was in 2002 that BMW returned to a mass market production of their Z car, with this, the E85 Z4. We've now seen 3 generations of the Z4. This E85 was followed by the E89 in 2009 and still in production today as the G29 Z4, which launched in 2018. Whilst the Z8 did follow the Z3, it's this E85 Z4 that's the Z3's true successor. And it was sold from launch in this Roadster body style. albeit it was joined by the E86 Coupe in 2006. Now the styling of the Z4 Coupe was much better received than that of the previous Z3, which actually had been nicknamed the clown shoe. Personally, I happen to prefer the look of the Z3 over the Z4 Coupe, but the Z4 Coupe is certainly a very smart car. At launch, the Roadster was offered with two 6-cylinder engine options, a 2.5 litre or a 3 litre engine. And they were mated to either a 5-speed manual or a 6-speed manual, or a 5-speed automatic or 6-speed SMG gearbox. And it was in May 2005 that the 4-cylinder 2-litre engine joined the lineup, albeit I believe only in the European markets. Now, as I've said earlier, my car has the 3-litre inline-6 M54 engine with the double Vanos, which is BMW's variable valve mechanism. The car comes with sports performance options and a dynamic stability control. It produces 221 brake horsepower and achieves 60 miles per hour in under 6 seconds, all with a fantastic 6-cylinder soundtrack which really feels like it's coming up through the floor. It's very cool. Life Cycle Impulse, or LCI, happened to the E85 BMW Z4 in 2006, and LCI is the name that BMW gives to its upgrade program, to its facelift that happens to all of its models pretty much after a few years after launch. Now, for the Z4, what that meant was that the 2.2 engine option was dropped. Also, the I trim level was changed to SI. There were changes to the headlights and rear lights and the front bumper, and the introduction of the coupe, as I've already mentioned. Now, along with these LCI upgrades, in 2006 came the Z4M in both soft top and hard top forms. These cars shared an engine with the E46 BMW M3, which means being fitted with that 3.2 litre S54 engine delivering 338 horsepower, or 330 if you're in the US, sorry about that. I believe just over 5,000 Z4M Roadsters were produced and around 4,275 Z4M Coupes. Over its life cycle, the Z4 in this form, there were 197,950 cars produced. Around 181,000 of those cars were Roadsters and around 17,000 of them were coupes. And this model was superseded in 2009 by the BMW Z4 E89. As you can see, even through this rain, that the bodywork on my Z4 has all been sorted. The Stratos grey paint is looking absolutely amazing, and that's topped off by those newly refurbished headlights that have been rubbed back and re-lacquered. The bodywork on this car really is back to factory fresh, and it looks fantastic here, sat on these 18-inch 5-spoke split rim alloys. This really is a car that you can't help but take a look back at each time you park it and go to walk away. But that's enough of it being parked up. Let's take it for a drive. I've had a new coolant level sensor fitted, and well, that seems to have sorted out the coolant warning light coming on at higher speeds. I've also had the car serviced, and well, it's driving really well as a result. These Z4s, they feel so well put together, so mechanical in the way that the gear changes and the car drives. Really, just like all BMWs, they're all very similar in the way that they drive. And sure, the cabin is a little snug and the car, well, it's quite low, but once you're in, the driving position is spot on, and you certainly feel like you're in something very special indeed. The dashboard is very nice. It's a simple and stylish design with this brushed metal piece running right across the front. And being an SE, well, I'm sat in these fully electric leather seats. Outside of the Z4M, well, this is the best of the Z4 models. A 3 litre with a manual gearbox is so much fun. And well, to be honest, the miles per gallon difference, the fuel economy of the 4-cylinder and the 6-cylinder. There isn't really a great deal between them, so I take a 6-cylinder every time. Roadsters really are cars for sunny days, not days like today, where you can get the roof down, where you can hit a B road, maybe on a Sunday where you can go to the pub for lunch. And whilst the Z4 is slightly heavier and a little bit less nimble than some of the other Roadsters of its time, it really does fit the bill. The Z4, particularly in 3-litre form, well, it offers performance, offers handling, offers a fantastic noise, and well, the looks to boot. It really is a classic Roadster, and it goes really, really well. I can't believe it. It stopped raining, so I've pulled over and I've got the roof down, and I hope that the rain holds off long enough for me to close out this video. Now, compared with the Z3, the Z4 is a heavier car, but I just love the proportions. That long bonnet, that stubby rear end, that little ducktail spoiler. I think this car looks great. BMW really did get the ingredients on this one just right. A big engine, rear wheel drive, and a stiffer chassis than the Z3. Sure, this is a bit of a bumpy ride, but it drives just like a sports car, and that's exactly what this is. And while I'm certain this is bound to be a modern classic of the future, sure, at the moment there are still lots of them on the road, and well, that's testament to BMW's build quality. After all, the oldest of this early iteration of the BMW Z4 are now 20 years old. But if you've got a 3-litre, hold on to it, because I'm certain these will be a classic of the future. And as they start to disappear from our roads over the next few years, well, the demand will be there, just like it has been over the last 40 years for the 60s and 70s Roadsters. And if you've got a 3-litre manual Z4, well, keep hold of it, because it's better than money in the bank, because you can drive it. But that's what I now need to turn this one into, money in the bank, so I can spend that money on some of my other cars, on buying new ones or restoring what I already have. But I've really enjoyed owning this Z4 for a few months, and well, bringing it back up to this standard, and I truly hope that it finds an enthusiast out there to take this car on and to enjoy it for many more years to come. And I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel, and it's free. Hit that bell icon so you get notified about other videos that we post. Click like on the video, and do let me know your thoughts on this car, your thoughts on Z4s, or anything to do with the cars. I do try and get back to everyone. It's always great to hear from you. So I'm going to drive this home. Hopefully it doesn't rain. I'm going to take it home with the roof down. We'll see how I get on. But in the meantime, until I see you again, thanks so much for watching. Bye for now. Bye-bye.